Hey Max, how's it going?
How you doing? All good, all good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's good to have you on. The reason I wanted to get you on too is because I was talking with a couple people in the prediction market space. I was talking with the founder of Polysites and just a couple other people, and it's very clear to me that there's going to be a huge demand for AI agents dealing with prediction markets, and this space is going to take off. It's still kind of nascent, right? Like people are building prediction market agents, but we're not really sure of their like utility, and it's all kind of new. And a lot of times it's just like an LLM, Chat
Yeah.
GPT type of thing, like a wrapper. But we're at some point, I feel like agents are going to be huge in prediction markets, so that's why I wanted to get you on.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah, I guess we can just start off with, if you want to introduce yourself and
Yeah.
the project you're working on, Sire, and yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, sure. Again, thanks for having me. I'm quite excited to be, entering this conversation with you. My background, so I'm Max, co-founder and CEO of Score. We're a vision AI research company. I've got a background in, I would say, collective intelligence protocols. I co-founded a protocol called CrunchDAO when we had a community of thousands of machine learning engineers building models for banks, hedge funds, and other customers in the finance world. We've decided with my current co-founders to launch a BitTensor subnet to push our vision models, our own vision models. And because our first customers were all in the world of sports, and funny enough, they were all in the world of sports, but some of them were on the betting end or prediction market end. The other one were more on the performance end. But for both of them, we realized that being very strong with the way you can extract data from video footage was it could probably create an edge. So that's pretty much the longest story short about how we ended up collecting more data in the world of sports. And then because we wanted to kind of prove our point, we decided to launch an AI agent that wasn't called Sire back then. We launched it like last year in December. It was called D King, but we obviously had problems with the brand, the real brand, DraftKings. And yeah, we wanted to show how, by having kind of a strong AI approach to those markets, you could build a system like a multi-agent system that would help people to get better insights basically. And then we pushed it to what it is now, which is a multi-agent system that is completely autonomous and executing trades on prediction markets pretty much.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think out of all the agents I've seen so far, I think you are definitely one of the more advanced, agents that I've seen. Um, and I'm wondering too. I know I think there's a little bit of lag coming in on my side.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. Yeah, it might turn my camera off to make it a little easier at some point.
Yeah, no,
But so my question is like uh, it's kind of like a two-part question diving into the technology, and the thing that I want to know is like, how does Sire technically track real-time
yeah,
sports footage? If you want to kind of break it down, like, is it
yeah.
using existing AI vision models? Did you guys come up with your own one? Are you tagging humans? Like are you looking for like the shape of a human or something, and then tagging it? Because I know there's multiple ways to do that, but
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what kind of deep dive.
Yeah, sure. So this whole multi-agent system was built around one of our co-founders' book. Peter Cotton wrote a book called Micro Prediction, I think 10 years ago, something like that. That was published by the MIT press, entity. And in this book, he describes how AI agents would, kind of collaborate together to extract better information, but also taken advantage with that edge. So we've built two things. The first one on the vision end, we built a system that is for now not plugged to like live stream. It could do live stream, but what we do right now is we try to kind of mesh the teams, understand the contribution of a player. And for that, we're using it on historical data. I mean, when I say historical data, it's just past games. It could be a game from last week. It would be working the same way. The thing we realized, by the way, just the reason why I'm telling you about the kind of mesh and players data, is that on sports markets, it's now very hard to build a market model. So if you base your approach on odds, the market is really, I mean, the prices are pretty already, accurate. It's really hard to do so. So what you want to do to get an edge is you want to go down something way more granular, and that's how we're using Vision at the moment. From a tech perspective, it could, definitely process live streams of data, but it's not really relevant at the moment. The other thing we've built is a system that is very good at finding interesting information. And the way we do this, and again, thanks to Peter, is that we're using LLMs to really track what's happening around a game, a player, and we literally build profiles. What we do from these profiles is we have kind of a list of baskets where we send information to in a completely manner, randomized manner. And then what we do is we let the baskets trade or bet on markets, and we attribute a P&L to each and every different basket. And then what we do is we promote the baskets that are performing well, and we relegate the ones that are performing badly, which then allows us to really analyze what's happening within the basket and what type of information is making a difference on the P&L. So it's almost like we are retro engineering information based on a P&L, something like you can really track, and also that is actually quite obvious and easy to measure, if that makes sense. So it's a combination of two different approaches: getting better data through video analysis, and getting better information using and leveraging LLMs. And just also to answer to the other question, yes, our vision model is somehow like a combination of state-of-the-art vision models. We just extract exactly what we want to do, the interesting distinct features of models to create our own.
Interesting. Yeah. And so that's really cool. In the sense that, I mean, I think like when you say baskets, I'm also thinking about like almost more advanced, and I don't know if you're getting into this, but almost like a more advanced way to copy trade. But I'm not sure if there's a DeFi
Mm.
aspect to this but it's just when you said baskets, I thought of like vault trading
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing about LLMs is that they're so powerful now that any information that is around will be baked in. So, I wouldn't be surprised to realize that some of the information coming in would come from, different DeFi vaults, or even, like public profiles of traders or something like that.
Interesting. And also, so I'm wondering, so this is a pretty new model like that you're working with. I mean, I heard you're on the cutting edge of kind of like just, you know, like using vision to kind of inform these. I'm curious, like how accurate have you begun to set benchmarks in accuracy, and like how accurate your sports predictions are compared to maybe like some more traditional methods?
So the thing we did, and we published like a data science report, is actually we weren't really happy about the kind of traditional machine learning approach. So I'll send you the link. I'll share the link with you later if you want to check. I would say that the difference for now is more on finding positive EV lines. I think the win rate is still like 55, around 55-ish%, let's say, something like that. So it's quite usual to see on models like those. But the ROI is interesting because it seems that the way we collect sentiment on social media channels, the way we collect, also the way we score teams and players, the way we build the profiles, seems to be really helpful at the moment to really find positive EV lines. There's still a lot of volatility. There's still a lot of drawdowns for now. We're still, in the experimental phase. So I wouldn't say that the model is perfect at the moment, but it's quite exciting to see how it's really good to find edge cases. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the feedback I can share. But we've published more details on our X account.
Interesting. And so obviously there's a whole bunch of different types of sports and events.
Yeah.
What type of sports events have you found so far work best with your system? And what type of sports events would you say are very incompatible with just AIA, like with just this type of method in general? Like the most difficult type of sports events to crack versus the ones that we're probably going to see first. Um,
Yeah, no, that's super interesting because historically we started with soccer, football, as we call it, and we thought we would crush it, and we ended up being way better in baseball and all the American sports because obviously of the different, it's just different. It's easier to predict. Um, I think events for now that were pretty successful for us were most importantly in baseball and the NFL and in tennis. I would say what like the over unders that was pretty good with this. Um, but in general, like win markets, if I'm honest with you, win markets are pretty successful for now for the model. I think the ones that are really hard to predict will still be the same, and that's when I think we'll have to kind of turn kind of the low latency real time vision model, and it's everything that has to do with injuries, something completely crazy happening on the pitch, something like literally unpredictable. So I think that's where vision would help a lot because if you manage to get to a low latency system where you can get the information before anyone else, then you get another advantage.
hmm. Yeah, I'm curious too because um, I'm wondering too, like in terms of like other events, right? Um, what do you think? Like, do you think this will be ready for other events at some point? Like, could you see this? Like, are you thinking about doing that? And you may have mentioned this already, and I apologize, but I'm just
Uh,
like, do you plan to expand to, let's say, like, I don't know how you would even do it, but like political events or
oh,
entertainment events. I
yeah, I
don't know
get it.
how you would, like, maybe you could assess like facial cues or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not,
potentially. Yeah,
which kind of
potentially.
gets into another question of the granularity of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. No,
But
no. I mean, it can be very, very granular, and I can't, talk about it right now. But we've just hired someone that was working for one of the biggest company in the world, and he was a computer vision engineer over there, and he was working on stuff that were really, literally microscopic. So I think we can go to a certain level of granularity. But no, no. Interestingly, I wrote an article on X about all the mentions or brands. It was around when Polymarket and Calci had mentions in South Park, and I think that computer vision can help in for all the markets that will have to check if I don't know a brand appeared on on the TV or something like that. Anything that would just pop up, or if you need to kind of find a resolution on something that happened on an image. I think that could be very interesting, like a very interesting use case. So we definitely plan to apply computer vision to more than just sports. Um, Maybe on another model, or maybe through another type of distribution, framework for different customers. But when it comes to sports, we'll always do it through Sire.
yeah, that's super interesting too. Like the idea that you could have at some point some sort of predictive vision intelligence for television or something like that. I think that would be very interesting. Um, so I'm curious about kind of like your background as a team.
Yeah,
How did the project come together? What's kind of like the backstory of the project?
yeah,
And like you as a founder coming into this space, and I know you guys are also self-funded,
yeah.
right? Or you and that's awesome, to be honest, to kind of escape so many things. What is that like? So it's a very broad question.
Yeah.
But I guess if you want to focus on kind of like just who you are as a team, how you came together, and maybe what it's like to work in that self-funding paradigm.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question, actually. So our background, my background, as I said, works for a decentralized, let's say, work protocol first. That was like the first big experience about around like a token play that helps AI companies, because the first protocol I worked for in this field was collecting data and doing data annotation for AI research companies. There was a spin-off from HCapture, and then I co-founded this project called CrunchDAO. So worked a lot with people in finance, met with Peter, one of our co-founders over there. And in parallel, I was working with both Tim and Nigel, my two other co-founders. And Nigel, he has an amazing story. He was part of a team that sold a piece of tech that then became Xbox. So that's quite epic. He has a great career. And then with Tim, they started a brand with a rock star, actually. So they started a brand with Liam Gallagher from Oasis. I don't know if you know them. They sold the brand to a public company, and then they went back working on tech stuff. Together, we built different applications and tech stacks for different people, but one of them being Harry Kane, the English captain. So this is also how we got connected to the world of sports. And then we decided to all jump on this thing called Score that we're running right now. And our way to really bootstrap our company was to pick the right protocol. And for us, the best protocol to really build AI in a decentralized way was BitTensor. And the way that BitTensor is structured, the way that the tokenomics are put together, allows teams like ours to really start with a good idea, try to make it relevant, and if it's relevant and if it's working, and if you prove that you're trying to do something good and you're getting good results, then the protocol itself and the ecosystem itself kind of rewards you with daily emission. So this is really how we bootstrap the Vision AI part of things. And then because we are also really um, you know I mean, ethos for us is quite important. So even in crypto, we wanted to do everything with the same kind of values, or aligned with the same morals. So what we did is we launched Sire through a fair launch on a launch pad called CreatorBit back then. That's pretty much the equivalent of virtuals. And the beautiful thing about fair launches is, if people think that it's interesting or relevant, they would join the project. So we had to buy our own tokens. Other people thought that Sire was a good idea, and then starting from there, you just play the game of being the LP of your own pool, and then you make a bit of fees from the LP. People understand that, they value what you're doing, and if you push like a product that is also relevant to some users, then some of them are paying for it, some of them are just generating more volume on token. You get your fees, and you can keep working like that.
Yeah, it's a great model because it gets you away from. So on the one hand, you are, we're kind of similar. Like Polyfactual is kind of similar. We're very much self-funded by our token fees, and it's good. I mean, there's pros and cons. On the one hand, you are, you do have to answer to the community of token holders, and they put
Yeah.
pressure on you, which is good, to be
Yeah.
honest, because it gets you moving. But it does free you from, like, the private investors, the venture capital people, which ultimately I think is a little bit, it can be worse. Like I've had, I know some people, some friends of mine who have, gone the traditional venture route, raising and stuff like that. And I don't know. I like, have you gone both routes? Have you done both before? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
raised capital before, and I think that's a reason why also we decided to really bootstrap this business. I'm not saying we're not going to raise money, at all. I just think that if you want to test your ID, there's plenty of ways to kind of really try it and see if you find traction, and then if you do find traction, then the conversations with investors are completely different.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so basically, like, because you can come in, you can be like, look, we're not as dependent on you as
Yeah.
Maybe we would be if we weren't doing this, which is gives you a little bit more leverage in the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that that's a good way to do it. I think I agree with you, and I think that it's going to be more and more. It's going to be the new way of doing things. I think like we're
Yeah.
moving into a era where or a time where basically this self funding model is becoming more accessible to more founders. So yeah, excited for it. Um, so I kind of wanted to get your take on future of prediction markets, just
Yeah.
in general, future of the AI. Like when do you think the agentic boom is going to happen in prediction markets? What will that look like? And will it look anything like the agentic boom that we had last year, for instance, or will it be something completely different? And will it be more permanent?
Yeah. No, I think the real boom is going to happen when agents are not just able to join, like, even Sire at some point is going to, front run liquidity or join run liquidity, which is pretty easy to do from a tech perspective. I think the real difference is going to come when most of hedge funds, and I'm talking to quite a few hedge funds, so I know that it's coming. I think the next step is going to be about agents that are able to and do what we are doing with Sire, as in finding information, mining information online, and then immediately create markets. And
That's
I think, and at scale, and on every single thing you can think about. So quite making everything potentially liquid and tradable. I think that's pretty much what's going to happen next. And the funny thing is that agents will probably create the markets and other agents will probably join markets, so it's probably going to be like an agent to agent game at some point.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Like, there's definitely going to be highly competitive too. And I think you would agree that like basically the agents that are starting right now, that are collecting data right now, are going to have the massive advantage. Um, and that's just because, I mean, like, especially if, like for instance, like, especially if it's like private data or data that's hard to get,
Yeah.
right? Proprietary data, for
Yeah.
instance. So I think that could be very interesting.
But what is going to happen for proprietary data, and I know that some hedge funds are already working on it, is to find a way for anyone to be paid by an agent for bringing information. So I think the next step is that human beings are going to work for agents.
Interesting. Right, because they're going to be highly incentivized. So would that look like almost like a WikiLeaks type of thing, or like a
Yeah.
leak, like kind of like
Yeah.
you leak to the agent?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really interesting. So I'm kind of what I want to ask you about is also like you guys are built on base. I know nothing about the base ecosystem. What is it like to? I guess it's a bit of a two-part question. Um, what is it like to kind of like if you could give me like an overview of what prediction markets in base are right now? Like I think I know like Limitless, I think,
Yeah.
is one
Yeah.
base.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much it.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like, what do you find about the community what is enticing to you about the base community? How are you liking the prediction market scene over there? And also, the next part of that question is, do you plan to expand into any other kind of ecosystems?
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. So I would say that the base community was really, really excited about AI. Most importantly, I would say than prediction markets. We can feel now that there's more interest, but I think that the community was amazing for kind of to support us to build this good tech, good piece of tech that Sire is from an AI perspective. I would say that maybe we would benefit from Limitless to be a bit bigger, to grow a bit bigger. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not really aware of any other like major prediction markets team on base. Yeah, and yeah, we do want to expand. We're talking to a lot of different chains. Uh, we could bridge the token to different chains. The thing is, I think Sire could probably become an interesting DeFi add-on, I would say, to a lot of different platforms because of the vaults, that it's managing as an agent. So the expansion will go through partnerships, I think. So let's say I don't know, I don't want to drop any names here, but let's say we manage to get a partnership with a very strong DeFi protocol that is mostly operating on Solana, for instance, and we would like to help their users to to loan some BTC to get USDC and then join the vault. Then it would make like lots of sense for us to bridge over their chain. But I think it would be driven by partnerships and product adoption.
Um, Interesting. What do you think is so? So I guess to kind of like wrap it up a little bit, what I want to know is kind of like what is the kind of end game plan? Like what is next for Sire? Like what are
Yeah.
you planning to do? Well, maybe not end game, right? But maybe like mid game. Like
Yeah.
in terms of like next year, 2026, what is the kind of roadmap that you're planning to kind of do?
So, yeah, definitely. No, that's super interesting. So there's two angles here. One of the big milestones we have in mind is to open. So just for people who wouldn't know, Saya has two different products. The first one is a terminal where you can chat with the agent and get insights, on games. And by the way, tomorrow we'll have a nice announcement about that. And the second product is a DeFi vault where people buy vault units with USDC, and then the agent trades on prediction markets, on their behalf, and they can sell their vault units if they get any return, and they will just cash the money out. The first vault that has been launched is one directional, so it's literally the agent that takes bets and on win markets or other markets like that. The most exciting thing we're working on right now is to open up a new vault, which would be a market making vault, where the agent would be completely market neutral and integrated to all the main prediction markets. And this is for me quite exciting because from a TVL perspective, it means that you can go really large. And also you can bring something completely new on the market because it's completely uncorrelated. It's just trading on sports, and it's supposed to be market neutral. So that's pretty much from product perspective like the mid-term milestone. The other milestone I have in mind is we're core contributors to Sire. We decided to build this because of our background, both in quant research and vision AI. Um, and again, we had to buy our own tokens, yada yada yada, and it's mostly owned by community. Like it's 85% owned by the community. So I think the second one would be to really build a strong DAO, to let people have a bigger say. Because I think when the tech is good enough to be just running by itself, and that's pretty much the goal of an AI agent, right? Then you have to let the community control it completely.
Yeah, I think the thing that you and we've thought a little bit about this too, but the thing that you said that was really interesting is the market making aspect. And I think like I saw an article recently come on Twitter, come on X, talking about the huge difference between market making for prediction markets and market making for dexes,
Yeah.
and the lack of and what it comes down to fundamentally. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is like it's different in terms of automation, right? And would you say that that is the main friction point of market? Like
Yeah.
how do you see if you want to kind of get into a little deeper, how AI agents solve this friction point potentially with market making?
I think it always comes back to the same point. It's the ability to get information at scale. So agents are helping you to kind of identify where markets are thin, but also where you have a good chance of them being filled quite quickly with people when they realize that it's going to be trending. So I think that's the biggest point of AI agents. And then obviously, since we already had this kind of one directional approach, if you combine both, you can find markets that are thin for now, from a liquidity perspective, but you can also kind of assess what's the right side of the market to put the more money into. So if you're good at like just if we take a step back, agents are good at finding information, and a market being thin from a liquidity perspective isn't information, and they're good at pricing things. And if you combine both, then you create the right railways for people to join, join the thing and just um, participate with bringing liquidity alongside the agent.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's a very innovative approach to kind of solving the market making issues, or at least reducing some of the huge friction points that exist right now.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I guess in terms of just I think usually we go about we stop it around this time, but I kind of wanted to get your perspective, and this is where I'm really kind of interested in just kind of like what are you most excited about when it comes to the future of prediction markets? Like, in and I guess the way I want to phrase it is like, is there something really missing right now from prediction markets that you'd like to see, or is there
Mm.
something that you'd like to see way more developed in this space? Um,
Yeah, that's a good question too. There's a paper, I can't remember if it's University of Texas or the other one, it's in Texas. There's a really great paper describing how prediction markets can help fight climate change
hmm,
in their ability to collect information from people that are living in certain areas, or also estimate the impact of different elements around a given kind of location or area of the world. So I think people that are going to really drill down on verticals using prediction markets more as a part of their process rather than just as an end, as a mean to an end. I think that's the exciting part, because I think that the prediction markets as they are right now are amazing, financial tools. I think way better than sportsbooks in sports, way more efficient, fairer for people. But what's the next step? How are you going to leverage the information? Because uh, overall, it's the perfect tool to kind of price truth, but also to collect the information about what's real or not. So I think the exciting part is, what are you going to do then when you're able to generate this kind of truth from anything you would try to get to the bottom of it.
yeah, it's interesting because it's like of a culture where kind of like on a metaphysical, philosophical level, if a culture were to harness the power of predicting its own fate,
Yeah.
more or less, you could you could potentially solve a lot of issues. And I have seen Futarchy float around on social media a little bit, and I'm starting to see it more and more with the idea that you can basically kind of pre-govern your society in a way.
Mm.
So I think that I think that applying it to things, I think that that's a much larger goal, and like politically, I don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah.
But I think for things like the environment, I think it would be actually very interesting, because I think that that's an external thing that you can kind of predict and you can jump to solve ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I think that that is yeah. Uh, my only concern, and we probably don't have time to go into this, is like how insider trading
Oh yeah.
will to affect, like, will that disrupt the will that disrupt, or will that be good? I still don't know, but
I mean, yeah, I think insider trading is bad for people that are trading on the market, but it's good for people that are using the information for something else.
yeah, that's interesting. Well, especially, well, there's certain markets where like you could be like a like like where it makes sense for you to make the market, like the Mr. Raising money. I think they were for sure. But like at the same time, it almost gets into this kind of like it's almost like you're issuing a bond. It could be structured that way. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I like, if you're a company and you have a market, you have a prediction market, and you're trying to hit milestones, like maybe it makes sense to kind of be the sole person making that market.
Yeah,
So I don't know. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff. But yeah, Max, it was good having you on. I'm glad that you decided to do this interview. I wanted to learn more about Sire.
thanks for having me.
Yes, any kind of final kind of closing announcements that you want to kind of shout out or
Mm.
pre, without giving too much away, maybe.
No, yeah. And the only thing I would say is, we're going to try to integrate what we've built to other projects with other projects into other protocols. I think this phase is very interesting. There's a lot of different teams that are working on the same thing, and I think at some point we would just all benefit from sharing what we're doing. We do believe in open tech, open source tech, etc. So, yeah, the thing I can say is we'll try to just share our tech with more and more people to see how what it creates.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Well, it was good having you, and yeah, let's connect in Telegram after because I
Yeah,
think there's some collaboration that we could
that
figure
sounds
out.
great. Thanks for having me again. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.